Welcome to Legal Talk with Hahn Hahn attorneys here on eRadio. Today, a very, very hot topic that we're seeing in the news, and especially in the last couple of weeks. We've seen multiple incidents of alleged food poisoning cases here all around South Africa. Multiple children even passing away after consuming snacks from spaza shops and informal vendors. What on earth is happening? And let's see how the South African food safety laws comply. To help us with this, we've got Hahn Hahn's Associate Attorney Isabella Mazzone with us today. Isabella, nice to chat to you.
Nice to chat to you as well, Ian. Thank you for having me.
So, Isabella, we've seen it all over the news. We've had in Soweto 6 children recently dying because of a phosphate that was found in their snacks. They had multiple tests and the results were released earlier this week. And they said, this is usually found in a pesticide, and the children actually suffocated because of this phosphate that they ingested when eating the food. So the question is, are the current food laws that are in place effective? And if so, why?
All right, so we'll get more into what the statement from the Minister of Health was earlier this week, but actually it wasn't found in the food, Ian, just to correct you there. But in terms of the current food laws that are in place, in South Africa, we have various laws that protect consumers in multiple ways and pieces of legislation. We have both the Foodstuffs, Cosmetics and Disinfectants Act, as well as the Consumer Protection Act, which both have protection mechanisms in place which ensure the right to safe, good quality products is upheld. We also have multiple regulations under these acts which prohibit specific conduct, ingredients, and contaminants, such as the R146 labeling and advertising regulations, the R638 general hygiene for food premises and transport of food regulations, the R692 microbiological standards regulations, which were also quite important at the beginning of the year when we dealt with the mycotoxins in the peanut butter. And now something a bit more relevant, we have the R246 regulations governing the maximum limits for pesticide residues that may be present in foodstuffs. So we do have the law in place. The legislation in place is sufficient, but the problem here is the implementation. And this is where the issue lies due to the lack of enforcement and surveillance that we have in this country. It's also due to the inconsistency in the various municipalities. The Department of Health is responsible on a municipal level for the actioning of these regulations. And we've seen a recent increase in enforcement in various metros. But it has also come with its challenges, as there are interpretation issues around the regulations by the environmental health practitioners who are responsible, as well as the whole issue of understaffing, as there's just not enough supply of these EHPs in each municipality, despite the demand in terms of the number of stores, the retailers, the vendors. It's quite an impossible task when you don't have the people there to enforce the laws that we do have.
So we don't know for sure how the children got these toxins in. Is that what you're saying also?
Yes. No. In the next couple of questions, I'm going to tell you why.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
So regarding the R3337 draft labeling legislation that still hasn't been finalized, what could be some of the reasons, Isabella, for the delay, and also how effective could it be if finally put in place?
Yeah, so we've had a lot of questions about this because people are saying, once this regulation comes in, things will be better and the Department of Health will be working on these issues. Well, the thing is, there is a delay in the finalizing of these regulations due to the thousands and thousands of comments that were submitted at the end of the comment period in September 2023. And there were some very controversial amendments to the current framework, which could result in major consequences for industry if implemented. I think we've discussed it in a couple of our other podcasts about that. But it comes as no surprise that there has been a delay, because I think the department really wants to deal with each and every comment in a way that is, it creates a proper conversation between industry and government. as it currently stands, industry has been largely self-regulated due to the inconsistency I spoke about before. When it comes to compliance and compliance aspects of labeling and advertising. Competitors tend to look at the market and submit complaints when they see non-compliance, as they have spent the time and the money to make the relevant changes to their own labels and advertising. Consumers have also become a lot smarter and more educated on what is and what is not allowed. So we've also seen a lot of consumer-driven complaints to entities such as the National Consumer Commission, the CGSO, the Advertising Regulatory Board. I see there's a lot of new decisions coming out of there, as well as our very own provincial consumer protectors. We also have by province consumer protectors. I think a lot of people are actually not aware that we do have them, but these consumer protection officers do exist.
Okay. Isabella, kids and young people are currently the ones linked the most to suspected food poisoning deaths, even hospitalization. So what else can be done to protect them?
Yeah, so I think the current case is still being investigated, and it's really difficult to say who or what caused this tragedy as of yet. So Minister Mazzone has confirmed, as you said before, that it was an agricultural pesticide that caused the death in the children in Soweto. And I'll talk about that a bit more later. However, a vast majority of the issues when it comes to food poisoning have a lot to do with the storage and hygiene practices of food at home. Products can become easily contaminated if stored at incorrect temperatures, if left out, or if stored near other products where there can be cross-contamination, which is another big issue. Basic kitchen hygiene at home must be prioritized by the parents and taught to the children at school level so as to try and prevent these types of cases. In a statement, the Department of Education actually came out and said that communities and school governing bodies should also take note of who is actually selling food and beverage items on or near school premises, including tuck shops and vendors. They said that parents, guardians, and caregivers are urged to be on high alert and to monitor the food items that their children consume. Importantly, to verify the source of such items. I mean, these things can happen, and our kids, when they're young, I mean, they see, for example, I remember as a kid when the ice cream man would come to the school, and we'd all run out and buy ice cream from the ice cream man. But we didn't know where that ice cream came from.
Yeah.
You know, these are things we really have to be more aware of.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, back then we were still excited about the ice cream man. Nowadays the kids run away when they see him because there's probably something sinister happening.
I don't know if they're running away from them yet. I haven't seen that.
I would.
Oh, shame.
Oh, my word. Okay, so Isabella, what can a consumer that has already experienced food poisoning do in terms of their rights and claiming for damages?
So the thing is, Ian, there's virtually nothing a consumer can do if they've experienced food poisoning in the past and only want to take action now. I mean, let's just be real here. Other than reporting it to the manufacturer using the contact details that you would find on a label or possibly to the NCC and the other bodies I spoke about, you can't really do anything unless you've actually collected the proper evidence. You can't just, I mean, otherwise it's just word of mouth. You have to take the proper steps to do this. These cases have to be acted upon immediately, as a chain of evidence is required to prove that the food poisoning symptoms can actually be linked to the food that was consumed. So you as a consumer have to consult with a medical practitioner for the relevant tests to be done in order to do this. You also need to try and retain the sample of food that you consumed, if possible, as this will also really assist with the investigation. With the current investigation which came out, the minister confirmed in his media briefing on Monday that the toxicology reports showed the presence of the organophosphate in their systems. However, they tested the snacks that were consumed and they've been unable to find any traces of the same chemical in the samples of the food. So here we have an example of, testing the food, testing the children, and seeing that the link can't be made here. So there has to be another way that these chemicals ended up in these children's systems. The spaza shops and the informal vendors have been swabbed, and results of those tests have yet to be released. But for now, the minister has in fact said that the department's theory at this point, until they are proven otherwise, is that the shops are using these pesticides to kill rats. And then, as you know, it's possible the rats would then climb over the packages. And,
yes.
These things happen. These are very strong pesticides that are being now sold to the communities for killing rats. And these pesticide products containing this organophosphate is not supposed to be in people's homes or that accessible. Do you know what I'm saying? There are different types of pesticides, and some have greater toxicity than others. So these types of investigations, such as the one we are currently facing, are really important as a learning curve, I think, for all South Africans, in order to see that a proper root cause analysis needs to be taken.
What happened to good old Ratex?
Even Ratex, hey? I mean, people who use Ratex and then their dogs eat the dead rats and then the dogs die. Oof. I mean, you've really got to be careful what you use.
Well, this is such an interesting a link that you've got there now, and I'm thinking that's probably what happened, eh? The rats probably, their droppings or something got into the food or something. So, yeah.
No, so we'll see what comes out. I mean, they're really going to have to try hurry up with these lab results from the swabbing, but it does take time. And obviously they don't want to come out and say something brash when they don't have the real science behind it. And, there have been people that have been coming out in the media to say, no, that this is from the school feeding. And, it's really been crazy. I think the Twitter warriors have gone a bit crazy on this topic with all the theories. At some point, we were getting questions to say, oh, no, it's these spaza shops selling expired foods, and that's why the people are dying. Which is actually, it's not possible to die that quickly from an expired food. And so it's just, I think people need to be wary of the false news that they spread on social media, and just leave it to the scientists and the authorities to figure out what's happening here.
Yeah, but we will certainly keep an eye on this story, because I think there will be some more very interesting developments in the weeks to come, Isabella.
For sure.
But thank you so much for your insight today here on Legal Talk. We really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you for having me again, Ian. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much for your time. And that was Isabella Mazzone, the Associate Attorney from Hahn Hahn.
Are you or your business in trouble and struggling to find a solution? Call Hahn Hahn Attorneys, as we assist clients in finding solutions. We specialize in consumer and food law, commercial and construction law, forensic investigations, and administrative law. Visit hahnlaw.co.za. That's HAHN. We assist clients nationwide. Hahn Hahn Attorneys, because we care. Don't miss Legal Talk with Hahn Hahn Attorneys, Wednesday mornings at 10 on eRadio.